Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's AYCG Gamecast. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Corey Feinsod
Ahoy!
and Tony Crooking.
Yo yo yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers. Mike is at a ball game, so he's not going to be on tonight. But welcome to the Gamecast. And we're live on Twitch starting Tuesday nights again, 8 o'clock. Please join us for these broadcasts. If you missed the live ones, though, we're over on YouTube. So be sure if you're watching this there, subscribe to us there. That way you get notified when we go live, like I just did. I'm not live, when we post. When we get live on Twitch, which I just did. So, all right, guys. It's been a couple weeks for me since on here, and I can tell you that I Star Wars Outlaws is like a burnout thing for me. I'm actually pushing through it, but I got off the planet, and I still don't. I'm not attached to that story character, but I'm just gonna. I gotta be near the end at this point because I'm like 15 hours in. I'm like, I gotta be close here. It's a heist game, so the heist is about to go. So I'm like, I gotta be right there. Um, Overall, love what they built with this world. Very repetitive combat. I keep saying that over and over again. I'm at the point where I'm like, if I see another Imperial base, I'm just gonna fucking lose my mind. I can't. Everything is always the same. Like it's go sneak into an Imperial base and go and steal the stuff, and then it's ridiculous. It's all the time. So good game. Hope it gets a sequel. It's deserving of it. It's not selling well. I don't know if it will. But they have a good base for it. So it's sad they didn't get the impact from it. Um, what I did
They
get,
built
I could. What's that going?
they built a great foundation, but they didn't really flesh it out. Is what you're saying?
They
So
didn't
like,
flesh it out. They didn't finish it.
It's just
Yeah,
the
they didn't.
Ubisoft.
So-
I mean, this is every Ubisoft IP. The
Which-
first game is always like, okay, we have some nice ideas. It's mostly a proof of concept, whatever. And then the sequel. I mean, even like Jedi Fallen Order, like it was okay. Like it's
Yeah.
perfectly serviceable, but like it wasn't until the sequel where people are like, oh wow, this is a really good game finally. So I don't blame
Yeah.
it. Like it's hard. Making games is hard, and especially when you're doing an open world, whatever. Like it's unfortunate. So whatever. I might play it at some point, but it's definitely going to be at a $10, Ubisoft special,
Definitely.
whatever.
What that's like for me. I was so intrigued. Everybody's raving about this Dragon Ball game. I was like, I want to get that, but I'm like, I feel like that's going to be a sale game soon, coming into holidays.
Yeah,
And so
probably.
it's like, yeah. I did start the Jason Schreier's newest book.
yep.
okay.
I
Same.
wanted to mention that on here. What was that called again? Shit.
Play nice.
Play nice.
Play nice.
The
Yes,
past,
play nice.
future,
Rise-
past, present, and future, or the
Oh, I guess
rise,
the rise, fall,
and future
of
of Blizzard. Yeah.
Of Blizzard. Yeah, so I'm on the World of Warcraft part in the book. It's about a third away or so into it. Looks like they're in the rise still. Like this is obviously it's not launched yet. They're building it, and they don't realize how big of a success they have. But this story is quite crazy to hear how video games used to run and how it was successful somehow. But there's lots of crunch talk. There's lots of non-inclusive gaming, but it was the way the world was. It's different hearing it go from mid 90s to now we're going into 2000s in this game, and how their philosophy is starting to change. And then I can't wait to hear about the demise, but I kind of have an idea how it goes down because the leadership is just very crazy in this early parts of the company. Even just wasn't very public about it, but there's some great stuff in this book that he got.
Yeah, no,
story-wise,
I mean,
and-
absolutely. So I'm a bit farther than you. I think I'm the last third or whatever like that. I think we're getting to
Okay.
the demise or the future, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, first of all, if you are a Blizzard fan or a WoW fan,
Yeah, wow,
or
fan.
even an Overwatch fan, because I just got done with what I would call the big portion of on Overwatch. I would encourage you to either pick up the book or the audiobook and read it because it's as a Blizzard fan, right? Since Warcraft 1, like I mean, I remember playing Warcraft 1, and that was a good game. And Warcraft 2 is what really changed. Like, oh shit, this is a really, really good game. I have become disenfranchised with Blizzard as an entity, and it happened slowly over the years. But listening to this, I'm like, oh yeah, like that totally makes sense. How we got
why,
here, right? And he goes through it, and a lot of it is like stuff we either knew, but there's a lot of stuff that we didn't know. We're like, I'm just like, oh shit, right? And really, a lot of it just comes to they were a victim of success.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll tie this in with the push for games as a service with how Sony has been doing, right? With the past couple of years with Naughty Dog, for example, because Naughty Dog is like, look, it sucks. We tried to do that Factions 2, whatever they were calling it, but if we did this, like our studio would become this, and that is literally what happened to Blizzard.
Yeah.
Because as soon as
No, I
WoW was
actually
successful,
I finished the book.
oh
already.
wow, damn, you finished it? Okay,
Wow. Nice. I might get that done tomorrow, but I'm not
No,
that
I,
fast.
I, had, I had a lot of time to just like go through it because it's
Yeah.
only like I listened
not
to it on
long.
audio.
it's a
book,
9-hour
obviously,
book.
but
I think it's
It's a
yeah.
9-hour
I
book.
do
I have
listen
it on
to
audio.
it
Yeah.
faster too. So
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, so it's not the actual length. So I shorten it by listening at faster speed.
Same here.
But yeah,
Same
it's
here.
like you guys were mentioning. He like Schreier has like some fantastic books, like Blood, Sweat, Pixels, amazing. That's great. What is the second book called? I keep forgetting the second book.
Was it like a one up or a second line?
Something like that. Second, yeah, something. I mean, it's about the companies instead of just like
Press
specific
reset.
games.
Press reset.
Press reset.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, so he's got a great writing style, and he really engages you in these.
He knows how to tell the story too. Like
Yeah, exactly, and he's giving you insights, like you were mentioning, and he's telling you these histories, and like we got that like glimpse of those in these other books. Like again, I highly recommend those books, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels especially. You get a taste of what he does, and then this is like a deep dive into that, where you get to see the inner workings of companies, and because like we're older, so we actually grew up with this company as well. We, like you're saying, Warcraft 1, and we started from the bottom, and we watched this company grow, and to see what was going on behind the scenes, or to hear about what's going on behind the scenes, and then to get this in a story form that's entertaining and informational is really fantastic. And it's like one of those things where you just can't really put it down. Like I was like, well, it's fully engaged, obviously, because I finished it already, but it's just one of those things where he does a great job of giving you informative information that you were kind of like, oh, I always wondered about that. That's really cool. To like, wow, this I had no idea. Like this is what it was like, or I feel bad for these people, or like fuck those guys. It's like every single emotion. It's like you're going through. And the biggest takeaway I got from this was that they never really had control of what they were doing. Almost like it seemed like they just kept getting bounced around, and they were trying to be like something, and like trying is never really turned out. And then once Bobby Kotick got his fingers on it, that was it. Downhill from there.
I am shocked that
100%.
Microsoft. I'm not going to talk about too much about. I'm not spoiling anything, but I am shocked that Microsoft. I forgot Microsoft had attempted to buy them early, like 2000 and 2003.
Yeah,
they tried
I remember
twice.
That too.
They tried twice, and unsuccessfully. I had never. I don't think I ever learned of that. The internet wasn't what it was, so didn't have the same information back then. But
it's crazy too. Like,
but yeah,
just to think how like certain people, in hindsight, it's 2020, obviously, but it's like certain people had this vision of what they wanted, and it's like everybody's just like telling them, no, you can't. Like, we have to do this instead, and do this and this. So yeah.
All right.
But yeah, they made some fantastic games.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about it deeper once Jim and I are finished with it too.
Maybe we do a little deep dive on this one. Maybe we'll do something like that on the podcast here, because it is worth. We haven't done a book yet, but maybe we should. Very rarely do we all read the same thing, so I'll be done with it this week. So maybe we can try it next week. But anyways, I also played Metaphor.
Nice. I downloaded the demo. I haven't had a chance to play it.
That's all I've been doing.
That game is fantastic. Wow. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Jim. I'm going to call you out because last year when the Xbox, I think around this time, Xbox had that showcase where they first revealed this, and we're going through the games, and I was like, "Whoa, bro, you're not even mentioning Metaphor? That was so good." And you're like, "Eh." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
They've made their own. They've. I don't know how they did this. Like they made their own like RPG system that is turn-based / action-based, and it works like very well. Like it works. I don't know how they did it. Like it's just awesome.
Crazy because it's like in this, and it's not really spoiler because it's part of the tutorial, right? It's like you can just free attack things, and if they die, they die. Like you don't have to go into a battle sequence to kill like this weak ass thing, or if you want to, you can choose to go into a turn-based battle thing and do that instead, which is crazy. I was like, that's why I was like, the first time I mentioned, I was like, wait, this is like I'm just killing these things like in the beginning, like what's happening?
The dogs and
stuff. There's no turn-based stuff, and then I was like, oh, there's a turn. You can
See, it's funny because like that segment. The earliest game I remember that happening was Earthbound on Super Nintendo, where like, because the enemies would appear on the overworld, and if they're stronger than you or equal to your level, they will chase you down. But if you're like over leveled and you could just defeat them by touching them, they'll run away from you. In which case, it's just free XP. So like you're chasing them down. It's just like, get over here. Like I'm gonna get my free XP. So that's funny. That's good.
That's what I'm doing with the dogs and stuff like that in the game. So
You're beating up
they're
dogs.
usually
Michael Vick or something, bro.
easy fodder.
Well,
Yeah. But yeah, so they did.
Sorry,
I'm very
I
impressed
thought
with this.
maybe the
and,
time has passed.
and they still have the Persona vibe. Like it's still Persona
absolutely.
mixed with it. So I love. I don't. They. It's amazing. Like again, any other year right now, I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna stick on the landing, but like,
what are you
obviously
playing it
there's
on? Oh, you got the
Did
full
you get
game?
the full version or did you just get the demo?
I got it in the Steam Deck.
Oh,
so
okay, nice.
I
nice.
would, yeah,
demo or full version?
the demo for now.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
you told me the transfers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I did that. But I'm like, and how far does the demo go?
It goes pretty far. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
'cause
been playing for a few hours already. So.
I'm a couple hours in, so yeah, I'm like 2.5 right now. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I forgot it was
It's very
demo.
meaty. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm picking it up.
Metaphor?
no question. And Metaphor, it runs like it runs really well on the Steam Deck. Like it runs very well. It's a perfect game for the Steam Deck because this is gonna be like an 80-hour game, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean,
I wanna.
Atlas is super. Atlas Sega. They announced 1 million day one,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
which is
That's right.
fucking incredible. Incredible.
Like I said, of the year.
Got great style. It's
Category.
interesting story so far, I have to say, and
Yeah.
characters are pretty good. Like can't complain about them yet. So we'll see.
Yep.
It
I'm
kind of
very
sucks because
curious.
like I'm at that point where I'm like, I want to play it. I'll get into what I'm in, but like, I know we're just a couple weeks away from those Black Friday holiday sales, and
Yeah.
Target at least usually does a buy two get one, and I'm like, oh, that'd be the perfect time to do Metaphor, Astrobot, and something else. And
It stinks because it's like I just want to play on Steam Deck, so I'm not
Oh,
getting the
yeah,
physical.
I see.
Yeah, I'm just getting
That's what
Steam.
I'm.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's what I was
those
looking
deals
The
aren't
Steam-
going to happen.
The
for
Steam
this.
sales might
well,
happen.
I mean,
Like,
I've already
they
seen it for
do.
like a $10 discount or something like that.
Yeah, no, you can
Yeah.
get it. You can definitely get it for cheaper than the 70 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you can.
that's the benefit
sure.
of Steam.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's always like those CD key type
Yeah,
places
exactly.
that.
Gray market or whatever. Yeah.
hmm
So, all right, Tony, what else? What else have you been playing?
So I'm probably more than the halfway point at Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh yeah.
Which is still really fun. It's actually to the point where like I have so many echoes. It's like kind of you get almost the analysis paralysis where I'm like, what should I be doing here and stuff like that, right? Where I'm like, well, I just kind of like gravitate towards a couple that like work for me. It's like, oh, you guys are my bread and butter. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just go and
Yeah.
do it. Stuff like that. I was stuck on like this one puzzle for probably a half hour yesterday, which kind of aggravated me because I was like, I don't understand what you want me to do here. I don't know if like I did it out of order or something like that, but I was in a dungeon and I was locked in a room and there was these two tiles where it's like, okay, with buttons. And it's like, okay, you have to put a weight on each of them, right? Where you're like, that's a old ass traditional Zelda puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And this one, mild spoiler, I don't think it's a big deal, but like the issue was you had to have them both be weighted, like pressed down at the same time. But there's no indication to me that that's what you had to do. So I was just like, is my game glitched? Am I not supposed to be here? Or do I not have an echo to take care of this?
Yeah.
So I literally had to look it up because I was stuck in this room and people were like, oh, you just got to do it both at the same time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is new. They've never had me do that before. And I get it, but I was just like kind of frustrated with that. So that was the one minor thing, but everything else about that has been great and just a nice, good return to 2D form. You know, because I know ever since Breath of the Wild did so well and then subsequently Tears of the Kingdom did well, you had these like segment of the fan base that was like, oh, we're never going to get a 2D Zelda again. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, we obviously did. So, you know, shut up.
Yeah.
But so then that, and then my brother and I, in traditional fashion, he picked up Silent Hill 2, and we've been playing through that, and that is incredible. Oh my god! Like this is on the level of that Resident Evil 2 remake, where I'm just like we're constantly just stopping to admire like the town and the graphics. The fog effects are so good, and just like, damn, this is really
Imagine
good.
that on a PS5 Pro, Tony.
Yeah, which has no enhancements as of yet. Question mark. I'm not sure, but
I'm sure.
eventually it will be. But like, I mean, it's just the game right now looks so good. The story is really nice. They cleaned up obviously the combat and everything like that, and it's just
Quality of
been
life.
so fun to play. And again, just I'm happy
Perfect
that we live in
month
this
for it, too.
timeline where it happened. Thankfully, RE2 was so successful that it kicked off the Dead Space remake, Silent Hill 2 remake, whatever else we're going to be getting down the line, the other RE games, obviously, and stuff like that. So we've been enjoying that probably a third of the way through that game. So
give us Parasite Eve, damn it.
It is funny,
Damn it.
On a tangent. So my brother got on this retro kick because Steam updated the wording on any store page now that says, you're technically not buying the game, you are buying a license to access the game, which is how it's always been. But apparently because of a lawsuit, they had to change the wording on all the storefront pages. So my brother, who's not as into stuff like we are, right? He's like, is this true? I was like, yeah, dude, it's totally true. You don't actually own the game. You have a license for the game. And he's like, well, that's bullshit. They could revoke it at any time. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they haven't so far, but like they could if they wanted to, right? And he's like, fuck that. I'm going to buy physical games as often as I can now. And that's why he bought Silent Hill 2 physically. Like, he actually went to a store, a local game store up in the Poconos. Not local, but I mean, relatively local. And bought Silent Hill 3 and I think 4, The Room, physically, which are expensive as shit. He's like, do you think these are good prices? I'm like, well, technically it's below market price, so yeah, negotiate with him, see if he can knock it down a little bit more. I'm sure if he could offer cash. So I think he got both games for $250 or something like that, which again is a lot, but like both of those games, like I think, go for close to $200 a piece, which is crazy. Wow. And he's happy about that. And so he's even asking me, he's like, well, he has the PS2 Slim, right? And he's like, well, I'm worried if that goes, what am I going to play on? I'm like, well, I have my PS3, which plays PS1 and PS2 games. You can use that and stuff like that. So I busted out my PS3 to make sure it still works. I don't even remember the last time that got powered on. But it does, which I was thankful for. And
Did you have like the hardware-based?
Yep, it was the Metal Gear Solid 4 bundle version. Because I specifically waited for that because I was like, fuck this. I'm not getting one that can't play the PS2 and PS1 games and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure we'll probably be playing those other games too after we.
Yeah, no, it makes me wish that PT was like available. Like
I still have my PS4 just because of PT. Yeah, just because of PT.
I mean, I made sure I kept like the hard drive and everything, and then like I hooked it back up and it wouldn't run.
Yeah,
It was in there. It was installed, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I couldn't get it to run.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
All right, Corey.
Yeah, I know. Mostly Metaphor. Just been playing that, which is crazy because like I have Vessels of Hatred, but I haven't actually played it. And my buddy's like, "How have you been on this?" Because I was wanting to play Metaphor more. So I play at lunchtime, and so Steam Deck is awesome.
That's why. Yeah, I got it in Steam. I'm gonna get it in the Steam Deck.
But yeah, no, they've been patching Diablo a lot too, so. It's interesting. Yeah. Plus, I mean, I was like, oh, I should get back to it after going through Play Nice. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear those things. But...
Oh, so one thing I did want to mention, just because you mentioned Diablo, and I said this back when we had the Diablo Immortal backlash, right? Yeah. Because I remember saying, I was like, Blizzard fucked up. It was fine to release, like, the show off Diablo Immortal, but what they fucked up on was not saying clearly and vehemently, like, we are working on Diablo 4. It is not ready to show yet. But we have another Diablo game that you could probably play and enjoy until then. Here's Diablo Immortal, right? And they even said in the book, just to try, there are so many people internally in the company who's like, you guys cannot do this. Like, there will be a backlash. And people are like, nah, it'll be fine. People love Diablo. It's like, you guys do not know your audience.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's the problem, is they thought people love Diablo and people are loving mobile games. The pick is like, oh, it's market research. Mobile games are the thing. So, like, we'll put these two powers combined. And, yeah, no. Not when you don't have an actual game to show. You have...
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right. But I just wanted to mention, because I was like, as soon as I looked up, I was like, yes! I knew it. I fucking knew it 100%. That's what they should have done. And they even... There's a segment inside the Blizzard internal that was like, yeah, you should do. And it was really funny because the wording he says, sorry, it isn't like a big spoiler or anything, but like they're like, the marketing team came up with so many different ways that they were doing the presentation where it's like, we are working on multiple Diablo projects, but not all of them are ready to be shown. I'm just like, why wouldn't you just say Diablo 4 is being worked on? We cannot show it yet.
You don't even have to call it Diablo 4. You can say the next mainline.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
the next
Yeah.
mainline Diablo game is in the works,
Yep.
but it won't be ready for a while. So here's this to help.
Yep.
You know,
But again, it still rubbed me the wrong way because it rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm not absolving Blizzard of anything. Like they clearly should have listened to that segment. But really disappointed me was the way that the fan base reacted, including that guy that was bald, red shirt, glasses. It was like, is this a late April Fool's joke? It's like, bro, I didn't know this. But that guy who announced that, I think that he was a Asian heavier set guy. He had been working on Diablo for like his entire career basically, and it's like, yo, just because he's doing Immortal, like you're gonna start treating him like shit. Like, come on, man. Like that's just ass. Like you should not be treating people like that. So it just like begs me back to that like Star Wars discourse, like the fan base just being awful, and it's like, look, just because this is not something you wanted, like doesn't mean you could be a total asshat about not getting what you want, stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see some news. Let's see. We'll start off with last week, really, because I think this missed the podcast with the Alarmo from Nintendo.
Yes.
So Nintendo announced an alarm, sound clock to call it, an alarm clock called Alarmo. I mean, it seems like something straight out of Mario for some reason. You know what I mean? Like it just looks something like right out of a Mario 64. And it looks. I think it looks really cool. But I think it looks pretty cool.
It's fun, definitely fun looking.
Yeah, like if I were younger, I would probably get this, and or if I didn't already own an Amazon Echo Mini or whatever the hell they call it, which for all intents and purposes does what I want it to, that I would want this to do. It is kind of interesting in terms of like it uses like motion sensors to like be like, oh, you're still in bed. You need to wake the fuck up, buddy.
Yeah, I have somebody in this house that needs that, and so my stepdaughter needs that badly. So I might get this one.
Okay.
So because she likes games anyways, so this might be
cool. I mean, I do like the fact that you can do different games. Like I think the ones they showed off are Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Pikmin. But I guess we're getting more Mario Kart and Animal Crossing with the free updates. So you can randomize the themes and stuff like that. I mean, it's a cool concept. I think it's clearly aimed at the younger audience, but that's fine because whatever, it's just a thing. But apparently sold out in Japan already. New York Nintendo store sold out, but they're getting another shipment in soon. So I guess there's a market for it. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Other news, we've got Corey. You want to talk about the Destiny Rising game, or?
I mean, since we talked about Diablo Immortal,
it's funny because they do talk about Destiny a little bit in the Play Nice book.
They do.
Yeah, but no, it's like listening to that and then seeing this announcement just made me think about the Diablo announcement and like the net and the Chinese like.
Yeah, I mean, it's NetEase for both of them.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm saying, yeah. So I was like, what? The timing of this is just so funny because, the Destiny's because we talked about it. I think last week did we talk? Like we talked about really.
I know
recently.
we brought it up recently about
it's like
whatever happened to that Bungie.
Bungie phone game that was supposed to come out. Well, here it is. It's coming, and apparently you're gonna have up to 6-person like raids and missions and stuff.
Alternate timeline, free to play.
Yep, free to play. It's not part of the Destiny we know, right? Like you said, alternate timeline or different timeline. It's not the same period. So I mean, if this came out maybe 5 years ago, I'd be much more excited about it. Now it's just like,
until it comes out, then Corey's like, I'm playing Destiny mobile all the time.
Could be. I wish it would be something that was worth playing, but we'll see. I don't play Destiny, so like if there's any tie-in or anything that like gets you like, hey, you play this and then you get something there, and vice versa. Like because even Immortal does that with Diablo, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, hey, I got something that well, not necessarily get something, but you have things that you get if you pre-order or something. You get something from Immortal and whatever. Oh. Yeah. It's just an
we'll see.
For me.
Corey will be playing it like when it comes out. We know he will. But all right. Let's see. GameStop. GameStop will be grading your cards now. They've been selling cards that were graded, but now they're actually going to PSA grade trading cards now. Do they give like a list of what's acceptable there, or are they just doing anything?
I have no idea. It's just weird. It's like because I've been playing the Star Wars card game a bunch, the new one, and it's like what we talked about this before. Like, what is GameStop gonna do? Like, how they
That's where it
pivot
goes. Yeah.
into like, what are they gonna be now that gaming is like it's not their main focus? Like, oh, retro, right? Retro, but now it's also the physical stuff. Like, I know Tony bought some packs and stuff at GameStop because they have them or whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's weird that you can just go in and be like, oh, I need this card graded. Like, I don't get how
I don't know how
they're
they're
gonna
do
make
that.
money
Like,
from this.
I didn't read the announcement very carefully because like for a little while I know they've sold graded
Yeah.
cards.
Yes, they have.
But
They're just very new, but they just started. Yeah.
I don't think they have the qualifications to grade themselves because like for the
Well,
grading
they're
service,
using PSA, right?
They use
So like
PSA now.
whatever PSA is, I don't know if they have to get like a go through if they're gonna send them to PSA for you or whatnot or
well,
what.
maybe
I
that's what
don't.
it is.
So that's my guess.
Because I wouldn't
But
trust a random. I don't even trust a random GameStop employee. No offense, to any GameStop employees. I don't trust a random ass GameStop employee with fucking pre-owned games, let alone
Yeah.
grading cards. Like that is.
yeah,
Wait, like
half the
I've had to
games
argue
you
with
get
people on the
pre-owned
condition
are
of stuff. I'm
messed
like,
up.
really, dude? Like this is normal wear and tear. Like this is still a good controller. Like what are you talking about?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, it's weird. I was like, again, I just don't understand how this helps them make money.
I mean, it may or may not, but at the same time, like, I think it's one of those things where GameStop is at that point where it's like do or die for them, right? Because like, and I think I forget it was Matt Piscatella at Circana or Daniel Ahmad, aka Zooj EX on Twitter, was saying that digital percentage it's super high up for at least it's super high up for Xbox, obviously because of Game Pass, but even PlayStation is getting close behind it to the point where it's like
it's a natural
physical for
migration.
those systems are probably got one generation left, I would say. And GameStop needs to pivot, and one of the pivots is like, hey, trading cards, those are going to be physical, so why not, right? Because I mean, you know, like we talked about, like any game store that exists, like a hobbyist game store, not video games, you have to have some sort of Magic presence, for example. Otherwise, you know, like you're missing out on so much revenue and stuff like that. So, and GameStop's the king of giving you low prices on trade-ins and, you know, charging high amounts for exactly. So it's like, I mean, to me, in some angle, I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't tried this sooner, right? Because it's like, oh, that Black Lotus, best I can do is $50. It's like,
you know, they're doing a bonus credit. You get 75. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. That would be crazy though if they got into singles market.
I mean, you can go. It was funny actually because so one of the subreddits I go on is a MTG like finance whatever, and they'll give you good deals and like or they'll give you deals or heads up on deals. Sorry. Yeah. And the one day this person was like, PSA. Every now and then, if you're ever on GameStop's website, just check out what graded cards they had because I picked up these 3 graded cards that are below market price and already paid to have graded by PSA or whatever it was, and I was like. Everybody's like, holy shit, really? I would have scooped those up. He's like, yeah, I scooped them up immediately and stuff like that. So,
yeah. So it's interesting. Like I could see if maybe help with the convenience of the like, cause like we've talked about it before. Like I don't want to send stuff out to get graded.
No,
right?
exactly. That's the other thing is I don't.
So maybe there's a convenience factor here if they have something.
Yeah, because I mean, I know a couple of the stores around me, the local game stores, will like if you because they'll grade stuff every now and then. I trust them, and I'll give them a fee. Be like, hey, next time you send in graded cards, like I would be like, hey, can you send my thing in? Because you know, it's less likely to
Jim. Right, they do it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're less likely to screw over.
Talk about like, hey, we're gonna start sending out to get your cards in. We'll send a bunch out to PSA, and then we'll get them.
Because it's less likely they're gonna screw over an entire store that routinely gives them business versus like an individual is like, hey, you might send like 3 cards to us ever. Stuff like that. So.
All right. Let's see. Bandai Namco.
Oh, we're in the bad news. You should have started off with both these things.
Well, yeah. I didn't see all of it bad. That's why I started. Well, whatever. I thought the top one was the main one to finish with. So, anyways, Bandai Namco has decided to start cutting games. Development of games, pause or cancel, including games based on anime, obviously, which they do a lot of, like Naruto, One Piece, a project commissioned by Nintendo. I thought the crazier part about this Bloomberg post was that the way that companies fire people, in Japan, like this Tokyo-based company is taking the traditional Japanese approach to reducing staff and sending workers to rooms where they are giving nothing to do and pressure them to leave voluntarily.
Yeah,
and
so
that's been reported multiple times.
crazy.
Yeah,
this is awful, and I don't know if you guys remember, but this is very eerily similar to what Konami did with Kojima. Because Metal Gear Solid 5 was taking up so many years of development, the budget was getting out of control, and they needed to get that game just shipped out to the point where Kojima was siloed off. I think he was in a completely different building than the rest of the staff.
He wasn't able to
no windows, didn't even have like communication via internet with his team. Like he had to have somebody come and visit him at the building to talk about updates and this, that, and the other thing. Where they made the working conditions so bad that he basically had no other choice but to quit, right? Yeah. Which sucks. And, now that we have all that information, hindsight is 2020, like, don't get me wrong. Konami absolutely fucked up, but, like, it's kind of the Japanese culture because you cannot just fire somebody off, like, in America typically, where it's like, we're just going to lay off people without good reason. Like, there are some protections, but it's to the point where, like, to circumvent that, it's like, well, we're not firing you. We're just making your fucking work life miserable.
Your life's gonna suck.
To the point where, like, you probably should just quit and find another job. But, that aside, this is exactly what apparently Bandai and Namco is doing. Even though they're saying, oh, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. It's like, but it seems like you are. So that's really shitty to do.
Yeah. So, all right. What else we have here? League of Legends. What's this update from the league?
I posted the whole quote.
Elimination roles. Yeah, well, you posted, so I'm just asking you. You're giving us the update. What do you have?
Well, Jim, I can't read the quote when I'm doing, but basically, the gist of it is Riot is laying off employees. There you go, Jim, because you can't read the quote.
Well, I know that, but they're eliminating jobs, and so that's okay. So go on. Yeah. So
what do you want me to say? I put the whole quote there. They're laying off people.
Do you want me to read the whole quote? That's why what do you want me to do here?
Go for it, Jim. I can do it if you want.
I might paraphrase. Okay. So League of Legends.
Let's read it all.
Release this. We've made some changes to our teams and how we work to make sure we can keep improving the league experience now and for the longer term. But I want to be clear. We're not slowing down work on the game you love. We're investing heavily in solving today's challenges faster while also building for the future. As part of these changes, we've made the tough decision to eliminate some roles. That's what we were just talking about. This isn't about reducing headcount or saving money. It's about making sure we have the right expertise. You're right. So that the league continues to be great for another 15 years and beyond. While team effectiveness is more important than team size, the league team will eventually be even larger than it is today as we develop the next phase of the league. For Rioters who are laid off, we are supporting them in a severance package that includes minimum of 6 months pay, annual bonuses, job placement assistance, health coverage, and more. So at least they're covering health coverage for 6 months, which is kind of a big thing. But either way, at the end of the day, I don't understand this. If you're projecting yourselves to be bigger later on, but you're downsizing now, I don't get it. But
yeah, so so this is Trindamir, which is one of the co-founders of Riot. So first of all, layoffs suck, right?
Yes.
We've been saying that for the past 2 years as the industry has gone through them at an alarming rate. But to me, this really reads like League really expanded very quickly past just League of Legends. They had the mobile version, console version, I think called like Wild Rift or something. They had Teamfight Tactics, which was the auto battler. They had I forget the name. They had a card game version.
I remember they showed off and released a whole slew of different types of League themed or League universe games.
Yeah, there was console games. I think there was one on Ziggs. I think there was one on Nunu and stuff like that. So they really expanded in a very short amount of time. Probably when cash was flowing, League was easily raking in tons and tons and tons of money. Obviously they still are, but it's at the point where it's kind of like the Fortnite problem, right? Where it's Fortnite makes a shit ton of money, but when Epic is burning money at a faster rate on these other projects, it's well, something has to give, right? So it definitely sucks. Yeah. I'm not excusing it, but I guess the silver lining there is that compensation package is really good. 6 months severance plus their annual bonus, which normally you would not get if you were laid off, plus 6 months of health insurance is huge because usually that is turned off right away.
Have fun.
Yeah,
fend for yourself.
It's like hope you can get everything done by the end of the month when we lay you off, right? Which is if you've ever had to get anything done in the American healthcare system, good luck within a month period.
That's why I said the 6 month coverage is pretty.
Yeah, that's very
a lot.
generous
That's not bad. Yeah.
But it does suck because again, this is a big company. They're hugely profitable. Again, 10-cent backed, just like Epic Games is. And it really just sucks because it's hard to support a lot of companies when they consistently lay off. Like I think Riot even laid off people last year around this time. So this is like the second time within a year or two. And this is on the verge of like just weeks away from Arcane Season 2, which we all know is going to be a huge hit. And make them money with, either directly through the Netflix deal or people playing League again, buying skins in League, because I'm sure they're going to release some collab skins. There's even rumors of, I think, Fortnite skins returning from Arcane and stuff like that. So it's like really shitty, right? Because like kind of like we were saying with Blizzard, and WoW being one of the golden gooses, apparently it's more valuable that you are making more money at the expense of workers than just being like, hey, we're not going to make as much money next year, but everybody has their jobs, right? Which is the depressing part about the state of the industry these days.
Yeah. All right. We'll go right to the last bit of the bad news, and then we'll finish with the other ones. So, Game Freak has had the big leak. Was that last week? It feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it was last week.
But it was last week.
I'm sorry. It broke last week, but it happened in August.
It happened in August, but so they've released a statement regarding the breach. I can't believe it affected not even just current employees, but past employees too. 26 employees, company email addresses, names. I think addresses are on there too. So that's. Let me just go back over here. Names, company email addresses. That's it. Okay. So they are contacting people, trying to take care of that behind the scenes, vowing that it won't happen again. But there's a lot of stuff in this leak.
There's test footage. I mean, even apparently the entire game of Pokemon Legends ZA, which is the upcoming Pokemon title in Q1, was leaked. A lot of footage, a lot of source code for older games was out there. Strangely, because Pokemon lore is deep. I don't think you guys are really into it, but like, there's even some questionable lore stories that were leaked, and people are like, "Wow, Pokemon devs are horny" or something like that because it's.
So that was real. I saw that listed on the leak. I'm like, is that actually a real thing that just happened? But yes,
something like that.
Some, sexualized characters or something like that.
Yeah, so it's really bad around. And again, I put this up there. This is just the same as the Insomniac hack, where it's not just this is not just a leak. It was a malicious entity, gaining intrusion for a company and trying to ransom data for money, and there's never
that Bitcoin.
Yep. And it really sucks.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, that just constantly happens, and it's like you hear about it from one huge company, and then you'd think these other companies would constantly be more vigilant, but there's always, there's always a little leaky faucet.
The thing is, though, is like it's they always go for the weakest link in the chain, which is the human component, where somebody apparently got phished, where it was like somebody clicked a link that they shouldn't have, and I mean, all it takes is a second. Like I've been there before. I'm like, wait a second, hold on, like this seems fishy, right? But like if you're careless about it and maybe you're multitasking, maybe coffee hasn't kicked in. You just click on a link and boom, you're done. Yeah,
I mean, if you're stressed, you're not thinking straight. That's the thing. It's like that's how they get you, and then you just constantly hit you like over and over again until it finally break.
Yeah. But the Pokemon company did come out and say it happened. What they're doing, the steps they're trying to help all the employees, because and I admire them for this. At least publicly, they're saying, look, we don't even care about any of the stuff that got leaked, including the game contents or anything. Yeah. We are worried about the employees, both past and present, that are now, in question and potentially at risk,
identity fraud and
all exactly. That stuff. So they're doing their best to help them in something like that, because kind of like, again, I'll cite the Star Wars fan base. The Pokemon fan base can be really fucking bad too. Like anytime something questionable happens in the Pokemon community, people are just very unforgiving.
I mean, is there a fan base that's not like assholes at certain times? Crazy.
Zelda, Mario, Kirby. I've never heard anything bad from the Kirby community.
Probably Kirby. That sounds about right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just
all right.
it's really shitty.
Yeah, it is.
And again, it was like a terabyte a date or something like that. So it's
a lot. Yeah,
a lot.
But the right response at least, so that's good. Companies maybe are learning, and hacks happen. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, and it's It's
Churro chimed in. Thanks for the comment. Churro says someone from Palmerville was really angry. Time for revenge. Which that would be funny if it really was somebody from Pal being like, "You're gonna sue us. We're gonna fucking hack you.
We're gonna
get fucked."
You.
Which I mean, here's the thing. I would hate to be whoever did this. I would hate to be that person, right? Like I would be fearful of everything. Like Nintendo / Pokemon Company did not fuck around with leaks. Like they go after everybody. So like and the thing is too is like apparently the hacker had some weird questionable lines of morality where like they refused to put up footage of that Pokemon Legend Z to A game, but apparently it's okay to leak the information of 2,600 employees. I find that to be a weird line in the sand to draw.
Yeah, that's
like, whoa, I'm not going to show you that game that's coming out in a couple months, but I will fucking show you 2,600 email addresses and names. It's like,
wow.
Question mark?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ugh. All right. Last two bits here. We've got PlayStation The Concert World Tour announced for 2025-2026. So we are getting celebrating the music of the greatest video games. So they're going to show like a concert full orchestra for Last of Us music, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima,
say it with me, knack.
Yeah, Horizon's on this list. It'll be launching April 15th worldwide, Dublin, United Kingdom, United States. It's going world tour. So interesting. So they like their concert music, and they have great music in these games. So
I think this is really cool because you know, historically, I believe I've talked about it on podcasts. I've gone to Zelda concerts and a Final Fantasy concert, and I just think this is a good way to get the younger generation involved in this kind of stuff. Because I mean, really, like, it's just what's popular for this generation, which is like video games, right? So it's like play video game music, and I think every time something like this happens, where it's another company getting it because they know they can make money off of it, it's like, oh shit, we can make money here. All right, why aren't we doing this? Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. And then we got a rumor. Marvel Studios is making their first official MCU game. Now, this is coming from that leak person that we talk about on My Time to Shine, hello, or whatever her name is on Twitter. Their name is. So, you know, so take this for whatever it is, but apparently that leaker has been right on a lot of occasions.
A lot of stuff.
So, yeah. So this could be in development finally. So an MCU-based video game finally happening with the proper characters. What do we think? If it makes it out.
Hard to trust right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like based off of Avengers, like, not excited. If that's
the problem. We're so down with it. But...
And if it's an MCU game, like licensed game like that, like are they tied to certain storylines now? Are they tied to certain?
Yeah, they would be.
So like,
absolutely,
it makes it.
I mean, they can do a what if game. What if game would make it fun?
I just think it's crazy to think about, but like, I just believe with all the budgets we had of some of the Marvel movies and the shows, where like I think maybe let's just make a game. It's cheaper to just make a fucking video game out of it, right?
Probably is, yeah. It might be close. Who knows? It's expensive, but it's not maybe as expensive as their other budgets. So.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, at least the ROI is there for a video game, right? Versus we put it on Disney Plus, guys, and Disney's like, well, shit, that doesn't our subscriber base went up 1%, guys. Like, it's hard to quantify the profit off of shows like that, right?
And unless they're Marvel Studios, so like who's going to develop it?
We don't know. We don't know yet. Yeah. It's just a rumor. So, well, if it's happening, I'm sure we'll hear more about it next year. Not this year, maybe E3. but we'll see.
That's
gonna do it.
I'd be curious
Yeah.
to see if they try to tie into one of the Avengers.
Yeah, could be
Like make it a
Secret
slam dunk.
War.
Because like especially if we're going to Secret Wars, like
Right.
my expectation there is that there's so much you can do in Secret Wars because that was a huge storyline in the comics.
Yeah.
Where I don't think you could fit all of that succinctly into a 3-hour movie, right? So you could easily just be like, hey, at the same time the movie is happening, if you play this game, you get to see what these characters are doing, what these characters are doing. Like that to me is cool.
Right.
That would get me to play that game.
Yeah.
That would get me
That'd
to
be
play
cool.
that game.
That's a cool idea. I like that one. So intriguing. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it for the news. We got everything covered. So thanks for tuning in. Gonna wrap up the Gamecast, folks. Once again, we're live on Twitch Tuesday nights, 8:00. Please join us for these broadcasts. We do Gamecast, Movecast, some bonus rounds. If you missed them, we're over on YouTube though. So if you're watching this there, subscribe, give us a like and a comment. We'll see you guys next week. Mike will be back, I think. So we're out for now.